Dun 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 dun. I hear wedding bells in the air. Hey y'all, it's April. Thanks for stopping by my crazy creative life. Alright, today's video, and I'm probably going to sort of have a series of these type videos, but it's all going toward my parents, my mom and dad, and I'll tell you in a subsequent video about their story, their actual love story. But my mom and dad are getting ready to have, well, in April, and no, that's not why I'm named April. I've asked them before, but anyway, their anniversary is April the 3rd. It's their 50th wedding anniversary, and my mom has always wanted to renew her vows, and my dad promised her, you know, well, if we make it 50 years, then we'll do it. So anyway, they are going to renew their vows. So I'm going to be helping do a lot of stuff for that wedding. I'm going to be making the cake and do some decorations, and then they also have asked me to sing the song they actually wanted at their wedding that didn't get. So anyway, with all that gabbing part, I'm going to be doing all kinds of stuff, and I just want to bring you along. I'm not teaching you anything. I'll tell you what I'm doing. And if there's things that I might just know, I'll tell you. But as far as teaching you, no, because I'm going to be learning some of this myself, how to make, and you're just going to come along with me and watch me succeed or watch me fail, whatever. But I want to try a few different cakes, because I'm going to try to do a tier cake if I'm able, and I'd like to do a couple of different flavors. So I've been watching other people, and I'm going to learn how to make homemade fondant. I'm going to learn how to make homemade gum paste. I already know how to make some stuff. I know I was watching the Preppy Kitchen, and I seen a couple of his recipes that I want to try. Then there's another lady, is it Annie Cake Bakes, Annie Bake Cake, something like that. I don't know. I'll go back and look, and I'll show you here what her name is. But whoever I try to go watch their video and try to get inspiration from, or just flat out being taught from, I will always link them, because it's not mine, so I'm not going to take their credit, but I will link them in the description box below, whoever I use. And I think that's it. So for today's video, I've got to look at all my stuff and see what I've got. Yeah, I'm not prepared, I guess, for this part, but I'm either going to do just a vanilla almond cake, or I'm going to do a carrot cake. I just need to see if I've got all the stuff to do a carrot cake, because I think that's kind of what I'm wanting to do first. I know my parents like carrot cake, so we'll see. So if you want to join along with me on this journey while I try to practice that song and practice making the cakes and the decorations and all that, then just stay right along. I'm back. I decided to do the carrot cake. I think I got everything that I need for the carrot cake, and that's kind of what I've been craving anyway. So we're going to try the carrot cake, see if we like it. Now, again, this is from the Preppy Kitchen, and I will link his YouTube and his, he's got a website too. So I pulled his recipe from his website, his webpage. He's changed it, his recipe, I believe, but he's not updated this. So, as we go along, I'll kind of tell you what I'm using and what he has changed it to. That way you'll know whenever you go to print this out that it is going to be a little bit different. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Before I get started, this calls for 1 cup of pecans, chopped pecans. You can also use walnuts. They're very similar in flavor, obviously texture. There's a slight difference, but I'm going to go ahead and use walnuts because that's what I've got. So I'm going to throw these on my sheet pan, and I'm going to, while my oven is preheating to 350 degrees, I'm going to put these in there. It should take about 5 or 10 minutes. You'll kind of know, you keep a good eye on them obviously, but you'll know that they're starting to brown up, toast up whenever you start smelling them. Okay, so I just spread that on my sheet pan, and I'm going to pop this in the oven while this is preheating. Also, I know I'm going to need 1 cup or 2 sticks of butter and 1 block of cream cheese for the cream cheese frosting. So I went ahead and pulled that out. I'm going to need 3 large eggs. I went ahead and pulled those out as well, and I'm going to set them on my stovetop, kind of let them come to room temperature with the heat of the oven preheating. right, next, probably, I don't know if you want to call it the hardest part, but maybe the most time consuming or aggravating or the least fun.
Not fun anymore.
This carrot cake. Hey Google, what's 315 minus 223?
315 minus 223 is 92.
92. All right. Just in case that almost there. I think what is left in this will be exactly what I need. So just throwing it back in there until I'm ready for them. Let's clean this mess up and then we'll get started on the next step. Dude, I think I got you set up and I forgot to hit record. Alright, so I'm doing this on grams. He calls for 300 grams of flour. So I've got my flour in there. It's 300 grams. You can't see my scale. Then it calls for 2 teaspoons of baking powder. His original recipe has changed. It's now 2 teaspoons of baking soda. The salt also changed. It's now 1.5 teaspoons of salt. There's 1/2. Then he calls, this sort of went back and forth too. He's went from anywhere from 1/2 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons. So I think I'm just going to go with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. He's got about, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 recipes out there for carrot cake. And they've all changed just slightly. So anyway, there's 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. He totally deleted this, but I'm keeping it in his video, the nutmeg. He's got on here 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, but I think I'll do 1/4 teaspoon. Because I think he deleted it because he is putting a lot more other spices in here. So 1/4 teaspoon, this is my half. I'm doing the no-no here. Okay, that's 1/2 teaspoon. I just didn't want to get out my other one. He calls for 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. I'm doing the same thing here. I'm just eyeballing it. 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom, and I like cardamom also. And it's cardamom. I probably should have been showing y'all that. Now, if you wonder, that's how you spell cardamom. If you wonder where I'm getting my spices in the bags, we have a local health food store. And that's where I get a lot of my spices. Okay, so this is 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom. This is a very good warm fall spice. Then 1/2 teaspoon of allspice. Okay. You want to give that a good sift. Then you want to take your whisk and whisk it up really good. Kind of blend those spices and that flour together. We're going to set that to the side. Alright, I hope I chose a big enough bowl. I'm almost thinking I needed my bigger bowl. Well, let's go ahead and get the wet ingredients going. We need, he's calling for 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. Now, in this particular recipe, he has substituted some of his oil with sour cream and applesauce. If you don't want to do or don't have sour cream and applesauce, you can do the full amount of the oil. The original amount of the oil was 1 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, but this time we are doing 3/4 cup of vegetable oil. So here's 1, 2, and 3. 3/4 cup of sour cream. 1, 2. Okay, break that up just a little bit. Then it calls for 1 2/3 cup of granulated sugar. Now on his recipe, he's got a cup of granulated and a cup of brown sugar, but he's revised it, I guess, and it's 1 2/3 cup of granulated sugar. Oh, about forgot my nuts. They may be a little bit too cooked. I'm gonna try them when they cool down and see what they taste like. If so, I'll toast up some more. 1/3, 2/3. All right, now we need our eggs. 1, 2, 3.
Where are you going?
What?
Was you washing your hands?
Then we've got 2 teaspoons of vanilla. 1, 2. Alright, so we've got our flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, cardamom, allspice, sour cream, vegetable oil, sugar, eggs, vanilla. Alright, so we need applesauce. Okay, it calls for a 1/2 cup of applesauce. I don't have unsweetened applesauce. I just have these little things that I send my kids sometimes. And it's got cinnamon in it, but it'll be okay because we've got cinnamon in here anyway. I think one of these is, yeah, that looks like a 1/2 cup to me. So let's just go ahead and put one of these little containers in. Feel confident that's a 1/2 cup. Alright, let's whisk, 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 whisk. Now he also, this is optional, he put some orange zest in, the wet ingredients. I don't have orange, I got tangerine, so I'll see if I can. I think my zester has gotten old. Microplane, whatever this thing's called. I need a new one. Well, that somewhat worked, so. And I did burn my, well, I don't know if they're burnt, but they definitely are over toasted, my nuts. So I went ahead and put another cup in there, and we'll try to eat these. If we can't, then we'll just throw them out to the birds. I know the birds eat them. All right, next we need, I guess we can go ahead and put in the carrots. Okay, now we need 1 cup of raisins and a 1/2 cup of pineapples, and then those nuts, and then that's it. So let's go ahead and do our 1/2 cup pineapples. Okay, and it was just those tidbits, those pineapple tidbits. We're going to drain those, and then I'm going to get a 1/2 cup out of that. Thank you, Google. Okay, that is a generous 1/2 cup of pineapples. Hey, Google, stop. I'll put them in there about 5 minutes this time. They might could have went 5 more minutes, but you can tell the difference. Those were the ones that I forgot about, actually. I should have set the timer then. Okay, so I'm going to let these cool and then chop up a little bit, and we will mix these in with our raisins with a little bit of flour. Okay, so there's a cup of nuts. Then we need, a cup of raisins. Okay, will y'all forgive me? I just looked up and my camera said no more memory. So I don't know where I stopped with you all. So I'll try to backtrack, and if this is doubled, then hopefully I'll catch it in editing. But anyway, I put a 1/2 cup of the pineapples in with the carrots and all of the wet ingredients. Then my walnuts burnt a little bit. I kept them in there too long, so I put more back in there for about 5 minutes, and they look like this now versus that. And it calls also, so that was a cup of the pecans or walnuts, either one, a cup of raisins. I didn't quite have a cup. They were almost a cup. So that's okay, because this is optional. It's not like crucial. And then we're going to put in about a tablespoon or so, not a whole lot, just a tablespoon or so of flour. because when you mix your nuts or your raisins or your cranberries or whatever that you're using like that in a recipe, that flour, I think I might need just a little bit more, that flour helps your stuff like this not to sink to the bottom of your cake. It helps to keep it suspended in the batter. All right, before I mix everything together now, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my pans. He said this will go in 2 9-inch round pans, or you can do like the big 16 by whatever. I can't even think. The bigger cake pan, you can put it in that. So let me go prepare my pan and I'll be right back. I got a mess here, but I'm going to try to show y'all something. Get you a piece of parchment paper. Kind of fold it. I guess that was a rectangle. Now I'll come back over and I'm sort of in a square. And then I'm going to go over one more time. That'll be almost like a triangle. So rectangle, square, triangle. Then, and you want to do it where the fold will be. Then you kind of just measure your pan about halfway, where you think halfway would be. And cut along. And when you open it up, for the most part, it should be a fairly decent circle. I mean, it's not perfect, but you can always go back and trim it up a little bit more if you need to. That one needs a little bit more off of it. I need to come down more, I think, like around, like that, a little bit more. And I made a butterfly. But anyway, you get the point. It's just as long as you've got a fairly good piece of parchment paper in the bottom, then you'll do good. So I'm going to butter this pan. You can also use the cake spray. I would not recommend Pam use in something like this, because for whatever reason it leaves pans like this with that sticky residue. But they do make a particular spray that is for baking that would work. So we've got our butter on. Now, get over here. Let's put a little butter on that, on that parchment paper. Okie dokie, let's put a little flour. And you're just kind of, I just kind of bang and twist as I'm going. And then when you come down, let's see. I hope this is capturing what I'm trying to show you, because I can't see for myself. Okay. Now I'm going to dump some of this out, so give me just a second. Let's go ahead and get this one done now. Now if you see, if I think I've missed a spot for the flour in this, I'll go back over it. I'm not as afraid to tilt it because I've got this pan under it now. And then just give it a bang to get out the excess. And then there's the first pan prepared. And I'll, for the most part, do the same thing with this one, except for when I'm finished with it, I'll take it over either the trash can or the sink and get the rest of the flour out there. Or in my hand. Oh gosh. This is hard work, so you could give me a like and subscribe to the channel to kind of say, I know it's hard work. Okie dokie. Now, like I said, I wish I had got my bigger glass bowl, but instead I think I have room in here. I can pour it all in. But let's go ahead and mix the wet ingredients with the dry. One good thing about this cake, you don't have to have your mixer. Well, at least for the cake. Frosting is a different story. So you just want to mix it till it's almost fully incorporated. And it's okay if there's still a little bit of flour. because we still have to fold in the nuts and the raisins. You see there's still a little bit of flour sitting in that, and that's perfectly fine. So we're just going to fold the nuts and the raisins in. Just make sure that bottom's good, and I believe it is. All right, so let's go ahead and pour this cake batter into our prepared pans. Okay, let's go put these in the oven. On 350. We'll start off 30 and go from there. All right, the timer went off. It feels pretty bouncy. You want it to have a spring to it. You don't want it to be like squishy, but you want it to have a spring to it. So I'm just gonna check right in the center. To me, that looks like it came out pretty clean. Same thing with this one, because you don't want them overbaked. Yeah, that's good. All right, I'm pulling them out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Excuse my flour on the stove. I gotta wipe it off. Okay. I'll let them cool there just a second, and then I'm gonna put them on top of, still in the pan, on top of a cooling rack. Okay, so I've set them on the cooling rack, and I'm gonna let them cool in the pan about 5 or 10 minutes or so. And you can see here, hopefully, you can see how it's pulled away. Where's my finger? You can see how it's pulled away from the edge. That's another way you know that the cakes are done. And then, of course, the bounce. It don't need to be jiggly under there like a waterbed, but you do want to bounce. What the hell, that John, I forgot his last name, on that cooking show, he said when it starts cooling down, you can take your pan and smack it back and forth like that, and that will help loosen it. And he's right. This. Yeah, you can see it coming loose on both of them. So let's just, here we go. Let me widen this out some. Okay, now here we go. Lovely, lovely. Now let's go ahead and get the frosting started. It is 1 cup or 2 sticks of unsalted butter. Go ahead and get that whipped up real quick. Okay, now we can add our cream cheese to it. Whip that together now. It does not call for salt in this recipe. It's got to have a little bit of salt in it. That's going to be too sweet if not. So I'm going to add just about a pinch of salt and see where that gets us. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. 1 pound of sifted powdered sugar, or roughly about 4 cups. This is also known as icing sugar. It's pretty thick now, but it still tastes just a little bit like butter, so I'm going to whip this a little longer. Sometimes when it tastes like butter, it just means you need to whip it a little longer. So I'm going to turn this back on high and whip it for a few more minutes. So you want it good and thick. It almost looks like ice cream, but ice cream that won't fall off. I guess you could say a blizzard, huh? Okay, I think I'm just going to put it, it'll fit on this little plate. It's like an 88-cent plate or $1 plate or something I got at Walmart. So we'll start off with just a little bit of frosting on the bottom. Now this cake I'm not trying to make pretty or decorate. I'm just making it for now for just to see what it tastes like and how it holds up. It's wanting to break a little bit right in there. Maybe I didn't flip it over in enough time. No, I know what I should have done. I should have put it in the refrigerator. It's good to let your cakes get cold. Either go in the freezer for like 20-30 minutes or in the refrigerator for a couple hours, and I did not even think to do that. I guess because this is a carrot cake and I just wasn't thinking. Okay, I'm going to put this one, I'm going to put it bottom up. Then I'm just going to leave it like that and put it in the freezer or the fridge. Haven't decided yet, wherever I can fit it at. And then I will pull it back out and we'll finish decorating it. Okay, it's not frozen or anything, but it is cooler. So we'll see how this will spread. I don't even know where my actual real spatula is. You can tell there's a whole lot of air in this frosting where I've whipped it up pretty good. You can see all the bubbles. Okay, for now, I'm not really worried about it being smooth and pretty and all that good stuff. For one, I wouldn't have it on a plate like this to begin with, and that thing's hard to kind of smooth your frosting around. And two, this is just for us to kind of try and eat and see if we like the recipe. And three, I don't have all my stuff with me at the moment to be able to make it all pretty, so. But there it is. I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator, let all this firm up, and then before I cut into it. Now this is my garage refrigerator, so don't judge. But I slid it on the top shelf there. Right now I don't have it covered up because if I put plastic wrap on that, you know, it's going to stick to that frosting. So I'm keeping it in the fridge for a little bit, long enough to where that's kind of got like a crust over it. Then I'll take it out and wrap it up in saran wrap. I won't keep it in here for hours on end without covering up in plastic because it can absorb the everything, you know, all the flavors and stuff in this fridge. I don't want that to happen. But if I try to put it on now, I'll mess it all up. So I'll come back probably about an hour. So just as long as it's got a crust over it, then I can wrap it up. It's been in the fridge now a few hours. And I think I had it in there roughly maybe 30 minutes, something like that, before I had put the plastic on. Like I said, I wanted to build up that kind of a crust on it. Okay, and what I done with the plastic, you can see I made like a cross set it down, put it on, and then I think there was a third piece somewhere on there. But you see there's kind of a, I mean, if I press hard, yeah, my finger would go through. But if I just do that, it's not sticky. That's how I knew that it had kind of firmed up enough to where I could go ahead and put my plastic wrap on it without it tearing it all to pieces. Okay, let's go ahead and cut into this. Okay, I needed definitely more filling in between the two layers because that's a little bit too thin. But let's go ahead and give it a bite. Put you in a bad position, I guess, but I didn't put my tripod up and I didn't want to get it back out. So let's see. Oh, it's really good. It probably needs to be a little bit colder, but that is good. That is really good. I didn't get to record them trying it, but they had come by on their way to town and I had gave them a bunch of it and they took it home. And then later that evening, she sent me like a voice text, if you know what I'm saying. I'm going to see if I can insert that here.
Your cake is absolutely delicious, the best I've ever eaten. I asked your dad, I said, well, you think that'd be a good wedding cake? He said, sure.
And you'd have to know my dad. That's just sometimes him being silly. He wasn't being mean or anything. But she loved it. And then even today, she said in her 67 years, that's the best cake she's ever ate. So I feel pretty good about that. Well, I guess that's it for this video. If I decide, I'm obviously going to take this. I don't know about tonight, but maybe tomorrow, let my parents try and see if they like which I'm sure they will, but see if they like it. See if they want that as part of the wedding cake. If I done that as part of the wedding cake, it would definitely have to be on the bottom layer because that thing is heavy. So I think the carrot cake would be good like on the bottom layer, and then maybe that upper layer would be more like the white cake or almond cake, whatever. So anyway, that's the first trial of wedding, I don't even know what to call it. Anyway, that's the first trial. So there's one cake down and we'll try probably a few more cakes and, like I said, decorations and all that. So I'm not really trying to teach anything, although I think I threw in a few hints for this, but I'm not really trying.
I get tongue-tied.
I'm not really trying to teach you anything. I just want you to come along for the ride and just kind of laugh with me at the journey and see what we fail at and succeed at. And this, I'm having trouble with tripods at the moment, I think. Anyway, so that's all. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, maybe I need to go to bed. Maybe it's just, I don't know, but I cannot talk. I think my brain is going faster than my mouth. Where was I? If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Join this crazy family. Ring the notification bell, or turn it on, and I'll ring it for you, I guess. But turn on the notification bell. That way you know when to upload new videos, and you can see more craziness for this upcoming wedding, renewal of the vows or whatever. And like I said, in a little bit later video, I'll kind of give you a little more on their love story, which is quite interesting. And their wedding day was quite interesting, let me tell you. Just wait, just hang on there. So I'll shut up now, and I hope y'all have a blessed rest of your day. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye. Hey, if you like this video, you may want to check out my previous video or my previous series. Talk to you soon.